Hello and welcome to Design Boss Dialogue, the podcast where bold and ambitious women in interior design come for real conversations to transform and take their businesses to new heights. I am your host, Lisa Marie El-Khadraoui, interior designer and business mentor, here to share my experiences and insights into running an interior design business, as well as empowering you to build the confident, profitable design business you've been dreaming of and truly deserve. In this space, we blend creativity with strategy to help you craft your success and thrive in the world of design. Every episode is packed with unfiltered, no BS conversations, daily inspiration, and actionable business tips to turn your passion into a thriving, cash-rich business. Together, we're redefining what it means to succeed in the interior design industry, one intentional, game-changing decision at a time. So get ready to step up, elevate, and create the design empire you've always envisioned. Hello and welcome back to Season 2 and the second episode of 2026. Now, today's podcast is all about the structure of your business, the services you offer, the boundaries you've set, the clarity you either have or don't have, and how those things directly shape how confident, profitable, and supported you feel in the day-to-day of your business. Now, if you're listening to this episode today, I don't believe that's accidental. This conversation tends to find women at a very specific point in their business. Now, for some of you, your diary might be full. That may be one-off projects a month or a quarter. You're working on projects, you're visible, and from the outside, it can look like things are moving in the right direction to the external audience. Yet internally, the business feels heavier than it should. And for others, it could look very different. You might be experiencing feast or famine, a steady stream of one-off projects here and there, busy periods followed by quieter quarters. Months where money comes in, followed by months where it feels uncertain again. And the financial sheets look empty, but the bottom line of the running day-to-day costs still need to be tended to and paid, and overwhelm becomes stronger than expected. But whether you're busy or quiet, fully booked or inconsistent, the feeling underneath is still often the same. You're working hard, but the business doesn't feel stable or solid at all. And you're giving a lot. You're really giving a lot in your business, and it doesn't always feel profitable. And there's this underlying sense that things shouldn't feel quite this difficult. And I know you've been feeling them for quite a while if you're sitting nodding along to this. Now, in this episode, we're going to talk about why that happens. We're going to talk about the foundations your business is actually built on, why so many designers experience scope creep without even realizing it, how unclear services and blurred boundaries quietly erode confidence and profit, and why over time this can leave your business feeling more like a very expensive hobby than a sustainable, supportive career. Because what often happens at this stage, whether work is flowing or not, is that we assume the answer is more effort, more visibility, more saying yes, more pushing ourselves, more fixing ourselves. But what if the issue isn't all of those things? And what if the real problem is that the foundations that your business is standing on were never designed to support consistent work, clear boundaries, or a sustainable income? Now, this episode isn't about trends or tactics. It's about the structure of your business, the services you offer, the boundaries you've set, the clarity you have or don't have, and how those things directly shape how secure, confident, and supported you feel. So as you listen, give yourself permission to be honest with yourself. One of the biggest disconnects I see in the industry is between how a business looks and how a business feels. On one hand, you might be getting a few inquiries, working on one or two beautiful projects. You may even be booked weeks or months ahead, or you get those inquiries, you can't even push them past the discovery call to the consultation stage. You're constantly reacting. Pricing across the board in all areas still feels really, really uncertain. You're reinventing the pricing wheel constantly. You over-deliver to avoid discomfort. When you do have a project, you second-guess all of those decisions. And you carry this constant low level of anxiety you can't quite put your finger. So I want to ask you something. Does your business currently feel supportive? Or does it feel like something you're constantly trying to keep up with? Because business with strong foundations doesn't rely on you being on all the time. It doesn't drain you just to exist, and it doesn't require constant mental gymnastics. When foundations are unclear, everything feels harder than it needs to be. Pricing, boundaries, delivery, even your creativity starts to get hindered. And it's not because you're not talented, far from that. It's because you're spending so much time second guessing yourself and sitting in uncertainty. You know you have an eye for design. You know you're good at what you do, but very few designers are ever taught how to actually build an interior design business with clear positioning and solid foundations. So here's a question I want you to sit with. If every inquiry you received next month said yes, could your business actually handle it? Not emotionally, but structurally. And this is where I want to start today, because one of the clearest signs that one of your 6 pillar foundations aren't doing their job is something I see across the industry again and again, and that is scope creep. Scope creep doesn't happen because clients are difficult. It doesn't happen because you lack the talent. Scope creep happens when services are not clearly defined. They're not clearly packaged and clearly bounded from the very beginning. And your business boundaries and non-negotiables have not been communicated or defined properly. Now, over the last 2 years, I've had hundreds of conversations with women, and this is what I see time and time again. A designer invoices for a project, often already undercharging because she has reinvented the pricing wheel time and time again. The structure of the quotation document hasn't been set up correctly, not only with the right terminology and language used, but the positioning and boundaries are not clear either. However, the client goes ahead and pays, and the project begins. And then slowly, subtly, the requests begin. They come in the form of this. Could you just take a look at this? Can you quickly advise on that? While we're here, what do you think about? Now, each request feels really small, but cumulatively across a project, they become enormous. And the real issue isn't the extra work. The issue is that the lines were blurred from the start, and you are now starting to leak money, time, and energy that was already undercharged and not communicated from the start. There were no clear expectations, no clear boundaries for the client, no shared understanding of what was included, what wasn't, and how additional work would be handled. So what happens as the designer? You freeze. Not because you don't know how you work, but because no one has ever shown you that you can raise variations in the project. It is absolutely okay. And how do you confidently go on to say, let me review that and come back to you with a variation invoice, when you're not even clear yourself where the boundary sits or how that conversation is supposed to be handled at that appropriate time? And this is where confidence starts to erode. You don't want to rock the boat. You don't want to seem difficult. You don't want to lose the client. So you absorb the work. And over time, this compounds across project after project. This is where scope creep becomes truly damaging in any interior designer's business, and it's not recognised until you start to become engulfed in self-doubt, overwhelm, and anxiety within the business itself. And when this happens repeatedly, your business starts to feel like a very expensive hobby. Over 50% of the women that come to me say I actually feel like I'm running a hobby and not a business, because I feel like I'm constantly working, mentally having to be switched on all the time. My phone never stops. I'm constantly giving more advice, more strategy, more reassurance to the clients, to the trades, than what was already priced from the offset. And I feel like it's never, ever going to stop. You don't want to feel like that in your interior design business. You want control from all aspects. And when I ask a simple question of, well, how does this present on your financial sheets to the designer, I often get, I don't even have one. I don't have it set up. And I actually don't know where to begin. This is exactly how designers become worn down. And this is how resentment builds in your business. And this is how creativity starts to feel heavy instead of expansive. And I want to say this clearly. This is not just an interior design issue. I see this happening across all businesses. So please don't feel that you're suffering from this on your own. Any services that overlap, anywhere where roles are blurred, anywhere where boundaries are assumed rather than articulated, this tends to happen. So I want you to reflect on this honestly. Have you ever reached the end of a project and thought, if I charge for everything I actually did, this would have been a very different experience financially? And if that answer is yes, then this is not personal failure. It's a foundational issue, and that's what we want to rectify for 2026. When we talk about foundations in business, services are one of the most important pillars, and yet they're often the least intentionally designed. All services should start with a purposeful theory, which is one I mentor and coach in all of my groups and one-to-one clients. Strong services are not vague. They are not flexible to the point of self-sacrifice. They are not built around what clients might want, and they are not combinations or parts, certainly not parts of other services glued together. They are sculpted around clarity, structure, and boundaries. And this is something that I'm going to be covering in the Designer's Blueprint Bootcamp on the 23rd of February. And I'm going to tell you more about this and how you can sign up at the end of the podcast. But within this bootcamp, I'm going to be uncovering exactly the 5 areas in what your client needs to know from each service you offer. So you can start to sculpt services that start with strong foundations. Because your projects are always going to evolve. But when your foundations are strong, evolution doesn't mean erosion. It means you can say calmly and professionally that when scope creep happens within projects or on site, the following. This falls outside of the original scope. I'll review what you need and come back to you with a variation. Now, you see, there's no guilt, no awkwardness, no overthinking. It's not personal or it's not emotional. And that isn't being difficult. That's being clear. And that's how a true businesswoman in her area of expertise in a solid, strong business would react. Clarity across your business protects both you and the client. And this is why service design isn't just about pricing. It's about authority, sustainability, and trusting yourself as the business owner. And that's why you need to stop operating an expensive hobby and start understanding how to run a profitable, sustainable, structured business. And at some point, there's going to be an identity shift that has to happen. Otherwise, the business is simply going to crumble. That shift has to be from, I'm a designer who runs a business, to I'm a business owner who designs with intention, clarity, and structure. Now, can you see how one is more powerful than the other? And that shift doesn't take creativity away. It actually harnesses it. It protects it. And this is why I'm such a big advocate to look honestly at what foundations your business are actually standing on. Because when you take the time to stabilize your services, your boundaries, your structure, you start to feel clarity immediately. But in 60 to 90 days, you start to see the positive ripple effects. The decisions feel easier and growth becomes sustainable, not chaotic. Clients feel clearer and confidence grows. And that is good growth. Now, if this episode has brought things up for you, if you can feel where your business feels a little unstable, unclear, or heavier than it should, then I've created something specifically to support you. That is the Designer's Blueprint Bootcamp. It is free, strategic, it's over 5 days, and it's running from Monday the 23rd of February through to Friday the 27th of February, starting at 9 a.m. each morning. We will be going through 45 minutes of private Zoom calls. And over those 5 days, we'll be diving into several foundational areas of your interior design business, the areas you need to build, strengthen, or reset. And I'll be guiding you through how to do it with clarity and an abundance load of confidence. I'm going to be sharing insights and resets to help you step back, assess what's really going on in your business, and you will also have the opportunity to join me for 2 live evening sessions during that week, where I'll be hot seat coaching you directly inside your business. Now, that opportunity is open to 7 women, where you get up close and personal with me, can ask questions related to implementing the work that we do together in the bootcamp, translating it into your own business. And that's done through the optional VIP upgrade for £47 plus VAT, which you're going to find in the opt-in page. Now, if you have loved today, then this is your opportunity to be completely supported, guided, and seen, not just inspired. All the links and the details to join the Designer's Blueprint Bootcamp are in the show notes below. And if this feels aligned for you, I would love, love, love to support you inside that beautiful space. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you in the next episode. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Design Boss Dialogue. If you love what you heard, then please share the podcast with your friends and any women that could do with a dose of empowerment just from me. I would love to hear your thoughts around today's podcast with your key takeaways and wins, because your feedback means everything to me. Also, don't forget to leave a review as well as hit that follow button so you never miss out on any inspiring conversations with me or any other trailblazing women I have on. Stay tuned for more exciting episodes, and remember, unleashing your inner design power and unlocking your true potential is only a click away. See you next time.